You are like a walking passenger team. Everybody looks good. That's a good looking team y'all got over there in
Thank you.
Pennsylvania. I can't say that about all my teams. No, I'm just kidding. Y'all didn't hear that.
Hey, this is
Especially
recorded.
that team I have in Missouri. No, don't, I didn't say that. Just kidding. Well, we had a great time. That conference was pretty good, wasn't it? Yeah. Did you stay for the closing keynote? The lady that's no. We were there for the opening one together.
For the
That lady.
opening,
Yeah.
yeah, we didn't go
Yeah.
for Friday. I
I
don't know.
didn't go
Did
for
you
Friday.
go Friday?
Yeah, you didn't
No.
go Friday. Now I really meant to say the opening. I think she kind of had me kind of confused a little bit, but then she looped it around and it got real good. You know what I mean? And then I started
Yeah.
realizing what she was saying, in particular that what she man that takes a lot of discipline to do what she did every day, to find something new every day. I have hard time finding something new every week.
Yeah, I'm trying to stick to it. I already scheduled to go skydiving, like I said I was gonna do. So I'm gonna do it.
You go right ahead, and you and Daryl can do it. I'll send Daryl up there with you. He wants to skydive too. I'm gonna tell you something. I'm not skydiving. I just barely like getting on airplanes.
Just close your eyes and just jump.
Yeah, yeah. So how's everybody been doing? Everybody doing well? Last time we were together, we were talking a little bit about self-care and its impact on our clients. And the one thing I mentioned was that when we do self-care, it better positions us to have the energy and synergy to serve the client base we serve. And we serve a client base that has ups, downs, and sideways. But when we have, when we do the self-care part, and I'm not talking about that flighty, you hear this everybody flipping the term self-care now, but intentional self-care that leads to our ability to improve the way we internally process things as we interact with people. Because to be honest with you, it's like a car with gas in it. A car that has very little gas can't go that far. But when you fill the tank, that puppy can go a long way. You know what I mean? Unless it's what do you call it, a Hummer? Then you go like 2 blocks and you got to fill it up again.
Oh yeah.
Those big block cars, whatever. But anyway, so had a great first session with the other group, and I'm looking forward to having one with you as well. But somebody tell me something good that's happened as far as self-care or other things, because yeah, I always tell people don't contract me to be a negative coach, a pessimism coach. They contract me to be a positive coach and to empower folks to maximize. So, Brandy, what's going on
I,
with you, my
I
friend?
am leaving. I'm already packed. And
Where
when
you
I get
going?
off work today, I'm going for a women's weekend
Wow.
with some ladies that I know from church and
Okay.
am super, super excited for that.
That is
So,
so awesome. Are you going
yeah.
far away? Is it going to be more like within Pennsylvania or
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
so
It's pretty much between Dauphin County and my house. So,
okay. Okay, that's
yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you,
Yeah.
Janae? What's going on with you? What good's going on? What maybe something self-care perspective or just good in the workplace? What's
Um,
happening?
Nothing much. I try to stick to my self-care on the weekends. So like I have like nail appointments and all this stuff on Saturday, hanging
Kind of
out with
decompress.
friends and
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. How
So
about how about you, Angie? What's going on, Angie?
Same with me. I'm just having a lazy weekend, so I'm looking forward to that.
it's always the best.
Okay. Very
Yep.
good. All right. Chelsea, good to see you, my friend.
Hi,
Hi.
darling. I'm
Ah, yeah.
leaving here in less than an hour and I'm going camping all weekend, so I'm pretty
You,
excited.
you're doing one of my favorite activities. I love camping.
Yeah,
I
me
love it
too.
with the mosquitoes and everything. I take it. You know what I
Yep.
mean? And last but not least, Darian, you're on. So what's going on with you? It could be work related or just personal. Yeah.
Not much with me this weekend. Not doing anything. Nope.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? That's doing something. Not doing
That's true.
anything is doing something, and it's good.
That's true.
My wife and I are we're doing a cruise. I'm very excited about that. Don't get a chance to vacate that often, but she wants to do all these excursions. I said, I said, I just want to sit on the boat and relax.
Is this
But
the Alaskan cruise you're going on, or
yeah,
did you already do that one?
we're doing the Alaskan cruise. Yes.
Okay, cool.
That'll be my first time in Alaska. Pray for me because I don't like cold weather.
I'll pray for
But you
you.
have to do your half polar plunge.
Oh no.
We're gonna hold you to
You
that, Janae and I.
that's
We're gonna be
messed up.
asking you
Oh,
all
you
about that.
Lord, y'all
Gotta
heard
get
that.
video
Oh,
evidence. You
she
gotta
got me
do
on
it.
that one. Okay,
Gotta do it.
I'm gonna stick my foot in the water and I'm gonna send y'all a picture.
All
Not
right.
the foot. You just
Yo,
gotta just dive, just
yeah,
dive in
I'm
and
not going
dive.
in that water. Let me tell you something. I may not come back up, boy. Hey, y'all don't know. They were at the conference, and this lady was talking about being daring and doing different things, and she was doing the polar plunges and all that. And I said, mentioned, I got up because I wanted to book, really. That's all I really wanted was the book. And I got up and I told her, I'm going to do a partial plunge. And she said, what's a partial plunge? I told her I'm going to Alaska and I'm gonna put my foot in the water and I'll take a picture, and that's as far as I'm going. And so she got me locked in on that one. So now I got to do it, y'all. All right. Well, listen, I just want to say, I've said this to the group earlier, and I really appreciate working with you all, because what's nice about our working together is we've gotten to know each other. You know what I mean? Like y'all know me. I mean, you know me, you know my family. I know you. I know your families. I know stories about you and situations, and we have coaches working with you that's there for you as well. So this is always what we're doing with you and many others. Is this is the kind of relationship we want, because we're here literally to help develop systems that create benefit for you as well as the clients. That's all it is. And I tell people all the time, you got to roll with us a little bit, because I'm a certified high performance coach. I am not a certified pessimism coach. I mean, people like well, I'm a certified high. I'm not here. I'm not certified to be pessimistic. Now, if you're like me, I got some friends that got big time certifications. Anybody got any friends that's certified? They will bring every negative. I mean, Chelsea is Pierre a certified pessimism coach? I mean, come on, he's not.
Oh, I love him.
That's what I'm saying. He's not.
He's
You
the
know?
bomb.
Yeah, he's the
He's a
bomb.
mind surgeon. He's certified in the mind.
He's certified mind surgeon. You know what I mean? And he was my mentee, and then he got certifications, and we just brought him on, and now he coaches, and so he's amazing. But not all of my team, we here to help create a paradigm. And that paradigm benefits both the client once implemented and you. You know what I mean? What I like the most is I got, a couple of thank you, Chelsea, you were one, I believe they gave us a testimonial that we shared at the conference, is that how all the testimonials not only talked about the benefit of what we're doing for the organization and clients, but personally. And so we're here for, those two purposes. So, but it's really, who I have a lot of fun with, and I've been coaching her individually, is Lizette, and Lizette is, I think y'all know, she has these plants in her office. So if you go in her office, you got plants everywhere. And you may not know this, but she talks to those plants. Now, people that don't understand plants may think she's crazy, all right? But it's been scientifically proven that when you talk to plants, you strengthen them. Isn't that something? When you talk to plants, you strengthen them. And when you water the plants, you strengthen them. Let me ask y'all a question. Have you ever seen a plant that has not been watered before?
Mhm.
Somebody tell me, what does it look like?
Dead.
No,
It's
describe
And listen,
it.
do you know that it makes a difference how you talk to those plants?
Mm-hmm.
Like if it's negative and like it's loud and obnoxious, they're not going to be happy.
Say that
But if you
again.
talk to it with love, they're happy and they'll grow.
That's
Bingo.
probably why mine died.
What's
Be
that?
not Listen, Chelsea, you better not be killing plants. We will fight. We will
She said
I
fight.
just give them to
Hey,
you now.
hey, I'm gonna
Yes,
tell you
please.
something. My wife is one of them too, boy. She can't keep a plant for 2 weeks, man. That girl don't water them. She don't talk to
Nope.
her. She's funny, but no, everything you just said is true. And so what I try to tell people, sometimes we got to liken ourselves to plants. You know what I mean? We got to water. We got to get watered. Okay. We need to have words. Listen, we live in a world where we're realistic. Like, it ain't gonna be positive 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You're gonna deal with a client that's gonna get on your nerve. You're gonna deal with a coworker that's gonna get on your nerve. You're gonna deal with all kinds of people. The boss gonna get on your nerve. You're gonna get on the boss's nerve. I mean, it's the nature of work. But what we're talking about here is, how do we create a paradigm, a perception, right? A way of thinking that produces a culture where we're ready to handle and deal with situations as they occur. You know, I played sports, and I'll be honest with you, I was pretty good, y'all. Bro has some skills. I mean, I ain't gonna lie to
Here
you.
we go.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you something real quick. Now I'll jump right into our session. I was recently inducted a couple years ago in my high school Hall of Fame. Thank you.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yes, I was. Mhm.
All right, I'll give you some credit
All right,
then.
give me some juice now. Show me some love. I was a three-sport all-star. Now, you want to hear something funny? So my youngest son, Alexander, I used to tell him all these, how, dads always tell how great they are, God, man, I used to, and I was a pretty good athlete, And he said, Dad, I don't believe none of that. He said, Dad, you just making those stories up. You like most dads, you just lying. And so then I got the call from the school district that I was inducted into the Hall of Fame. So I said, family, you're gonna come up. And so not only did they call me as the first person, they listed the accolades. And so I went up and it was a big to do, all these people, and I got my plaque. I'm on my high school wall and everything. And so my son Alexander walks up to me and he says, Dad, you weren't lying. I said, I told you, boy. So, but one thing about being an athlete, and tell me if y'all roll with me on this. I love the games, but I hated practice.
Yeah, most people do.
I mean, seriously, y'all with me on that one? Like,
I liked practice because I could talk. That was about it.
you like practice so you can talk. Was anybody else an athlete? What do you think about practice? What do you think?
Yeah, practice was torture.
Yeah,
It was torture.
was.
Yeah.
Lower body, the
Yeah.
ice baths. I
Yeah.
don't miss that.
Oh
Yeah.
my God. Let me tell y'all something. Like I played football, right? I played football, basketball, track and field in high school. But in college, you can do football and track and field, but like you don't find many basketball, football. That's just not typically it. So I played football. I could have played basketball because I was a good basketball player in high school, but I chose football. But I'm telling you right now, I hated going to summer camps because it's like 922 degrees. I got all these pads on and I got coaches screaming at me. I'm like, don't y'all know it's like 900 degrees? I just lost 50 pounds this week and you all in my face. But you know what happened? We go through that and then we come to the game. And then you put those fresh new uniforms on. You walk out on the court, you walk out on the field, you look at the audience and say, this is what it was all for, this moment. And so reason why I'm saying that, I'm liking that to what we do in our careers. That, it's almost like the game is once we in front of that client and interacting with them, or if I'm a leader doing some work within the organization. But the practice is how, and this is important. Please write this down. I hope you take some notes because I want to share some things with you. The practice is how you prepare yourself mentally for those experiences. That's the practice. You see, one of my mentors told me a long time ago, he built up a very successful business. Matter of fact, he built this business up to $500 million and sold it. I said, man, I want to be like you when I grow up. But he said, you know why I'm successful, Daryl? I said, what is it, sir? His name is Earl Stafford. I'll never forget it. He said, because most people fall in love with the dream. I fall in love with the process. That's a good quote right there.
Yeah,
And check out what he said. It's the process that gets you to the dream.
that is very true.
And most people fail in the process. They can talk about the dream, but they don't want to do the work. They don't
Well,
want to do the
almost everybody fails. It's just whether you keep going or not.
Yeah. So the process is ugly. Other words, when I'm working on, say, mindset stuff, it could be ugly because I got to make some adjustments. I got to change some things. I got to, interact differently with people when people they may be the ones wrong. You know what I mean? But I'm still saying I'm going to stick to my values, and I'm not going to deviate. So what that does is it causes us to build an internal paradigm that produces the kind of outcomes that gets us the results we want. And so in our industry, because we deal with so many people with barriers to employment and challenges and things like that, I'm gonna hit a quick pause, y'all, for just 1 second because I can hear real quick. Okay. We have to mentally and prepare, and then self-care plays a big role in that. All right. Now, self-care is not the flighty fluffy stuff. That's nice parts of it. But self-care has different categories. It's emotional, it's psychological, it's diet, it's spiritual, it's community. These are all roles within the self-care component. So don't look at self-care as just one thing. How am I doing emotional? And so it's an awareness, all right, of these are the things I need to do so I can bring myself best self to any situation. You know, I'm at a stage in my life and it has nothing to do with age. It has to do with working on this brain of mine that I take Pierre's statement and I live by it. My response is my responsibility. Period. So people can say things, they can be mean, they can be insensitive, they can do whatever. And that's like, well, that's them. I don't have to join that party if I don't want to. If I choose to, that's because I've chosen to. But if I choose not to, then guess what? I can keep smiling and keep on going. You know, I mean, one person got mad at me. You can tell they want me to get mad here. Like, you know, and it's more I smiled, the angrier they got. And I like, and one person said, you know, the person said to me, I'll be honest with you, they said this to me. So what are you doing? Like, why are you not? I said, I told this person who's a guy, I said, let me tell you something. I learned a very valuable lesson in life, and I want to share it with you right now. Maybe it'll help you. This is what I told this person. I am in control of who opinion counts. You don't have that kind of power over me. So I can smile in the midst of him acting like a nutcase. Because why? Now, does it frustrate me? Yeah, it can frustrate me. But it does not have to impact me. So let me go into some of this information because I want you to see what I'm talking about. Because I'm going to give you a word. All right. Let me see if I can. Okay, where'd this go? It's kind of like the presentation just decided it wanted to go its own way.
Can I add something to that, to what you just said?
Please do. Please do.
So as far as what's his name? The other Pierre.
Yes.
His saying is, your response is your responsibility. And in having that and living by that, it takes away from the people who say hurt people.
Yep.
Because to me, that is a lack of accountability.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not okay. It doesn't make it okay.
Yeah.
Like we have to be self-aware. So
I love that. Thank you so much. Yep. And let me say this to you. You're spot on. And here's the thing, hurt people, really, to be honest with you, the best way to describe what hurt people, you just gotta have compassion for. You know what I mean? Like, you realize sometimes, man, hurt people it's not you. Like, you're not the target of their hurt. They're that way because of something that happened through somebody else. So, like, for instance, when you have clients walking through the door, right? They ain't mad at you. They're mad at somebody that they just left the home with. They carry it with them into other places because, not to sound funny or disrespectful to them, they don't have emotional intelligence. Why? Because they've never been taught it. So we get now, so let's say a client walks in the door, then we get upset at that client because they upset at somebody else, and we're kind of, you know what I mean? So what I try to tell people in our field is keep your composure. If you need help, get it. Nobody has a right to be disrespectful to you. That's different. All right. And so, but keep in mind what coach is talking about. We're talking about a paradigm. So I'm gonna get past that. Take this word down because I want you to get it. It's called neuroplasticity. It's a big word. And so I teach, it's interesting the stuff I teach workforce development. Nobody's teaching this in workforce development. Okay. It's just not a conversation that's coming up. Okay. But I chose to teach on it because of the nature of our work. We need to understand neurons are the foundational building blocks of your entire nervous system and are incredibly important for learning and brain health. Here's important. Neuroplasticity is the amazing ability of your brain to grow and change. So you know what that eliminates, Brandy? It eliminates, I'm just who I am. No, you are who you became. And just like you became that, you can unbecome it. So what people always say, in our field, neuroplasticity is the goal. We want to be able to have ourselves make adjustments so that we can better serve the people we serve, and then also have a sense of peace in our own lives. simultaneously. So write down this next word that you've heard me talk about, and I'm gonna ask you, what does it mean? See if you remember. Neural, Neural. All right. Neural pathways. Anybody remember what that means? Neural pathways. I want to see if does anybody remember from our last meeting what that means? Well, last few meetings, I've talked about it. Neural pathways. So let me explain what they are. You can always Google it. You don't cheat, get on your phone. You know. All right. So here's a neural pathway. You ready for this? Janay, here we go. Neural pathways, right, are the pathways we create in our minds through the process of continually thinking about something a certain way. So in essence, it becomes a paradigm. So let me give you a good one. I don't have time for self-care. People say that. Have you ever heard that before? Or self-care is selfish. That's a paradigm. That's a perception. All right. And so that perception is a byproduct of something we've allowed to normalize in our thinking. And we're all guilty of it. All of us are. We do it with people. Have you ever heard people say something about a person like, oh, that's just so and so, that's how they are? Anybody ever heard that before? Now, tell me, why does that exist? Talk to me. I want to make sure you're tracking me on this. Why does that exist? That way of thinking about people. Where's that come from? There's no sophisticated answer to this. This could be
But when
both.
they say that's just how they are,
That's just how they, yeah. When they say just that's how they are.
and where does that come from?
Yeah, what is the byproduct of that? Like, where's that come from? Where's that? Because where does the idea of that's just who they are come from?
I think it was an idea of like acceptance and
Yeah,
accepting people where they were.
where they were, right,
Um,
right,
yeah.
yeah. And what happens is a collective body of us agree with it, right? So where that
Yeah.
comes from is here's another word. I'm not trying to sound too much like a scientist. What we've created is a sense of normalcy.
And it shouldn't be normalized.
Bingo.
Yeah.
We accepted it. It's normalized. We normalized it.
Yeah.
How many of y'all know that? I'm going to be real serious here, but how many of y'all know this happens in families?
Listen, whose family don't it happen in? That's just
Come
the
on.
way they are.
Say it again.
Yeah.
Janay, what's that?
I said definitely mine. But see,
Yeah.
like, I don't accept it. Like, that can very much well be how that person is. And if that's the case, how I decide to handle you moving forward is what it is. So if I choose not to be around you because that's how you are, then
Bingo.
you have to accept my response to how
See,
you are.
and you know
See, and
what?
that's self-care. Boundaries are
That's
self-care.
self-care.
I got boundaries against everybody, my
Yep.
mama, my
Yep.
kids,
Absolutely.
my siblings,
Yeah,
everybody. Don't
yeah.
start.
Because they all can get on your nerves.
Mhm.
They do.
And I tell people all the time, I probably get on theirs. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not excluding myself from that. But one thing I've learned being a father with 4 kids and married to one woman for 30 is that we all bring things to the table that shaped us into who we are. It really is. It could be experiences, childhood, relationships, friends, interactions. It could be a variety of things. And so what neuroplasticity is trying to get us to, and neural pathways is trying to get us to, is thinking about, okay, man, change is possible. I can rethink situations and respond. One person could see a person is totally devastating. Another person look and say, ain't nothing but opportunity over there. I remember hearing a story about there was a shoe company years ago called Tom McCann's. All right, some of y'all are probably too young to remember that shoe store, but they were a very popular shoe store. And so I don't know if this is a true story, but one of my mentors was telling the story about how the company started. This young friends went over to India in a certain part of India because they were looking at trying to possibly create this shoe company. They want to see something from a foreign perspective. So they went over there and they were walking around, but nobody wore shoes. Like nobody had shoes on. And so the one friend said, well, ain't no hope here. Ain't nobody wearing shoes. You know, let's forget this idea. This makes no sense. You know what the other friend said? Man, nobody got shoes on. There's a lot of opportunity for shoes. And that's how the company was birthed. One person lost out on a multi-billion-dollar company. The other person built it because of the way they perceive things. So what I'm trying to say is people see things, and so neuroplasticity, so we got to understand that, you know, when like for me, like the thing that helped me work in the space of workforce development is I created a paradigm, and my team created a paradigm when we were under WIA, is WIOA now, when we were a contractor, that every person that walks to that door has potential. Now, did everybody walk to that door have potential? Nope. Did everybody that walk in that door smile? Nope. But that's the paradigm we created. And so when a person walked in, you know, we treated them with respect. Judy was our front per desk person, had them have a seat. We had a nice systems in place, and she always had some water and some snacks up there. Would you like a drink of water? Would you like a snack? Folks just like, whoa, okay, that's different. So we created the environment with what we wanted. And what happened is now people started, and then we said to our staff, you know, we don't argue with clients. Clients can do whatever. That's our job is not to argue with them. If we need help, come get the help. You know what I mean? So if a client was having a bad day or something was going on, we say, okay, we know we're here to help. How can we help you? And if they want to continue to go on, I said, well, let's reschedule this because obviously today we can't be of much help. You know? And it's like, why are y'all so calm? Well, we calm because we're here to serve. That's all we're here to do. I'm here to argue with you, fight you. No, I'm here to serve you. When you're ready for me to do that, I'll do that for you all day long. I got resources, I got connections, I got people, but I'm not gonna argue with you and fight you. That doesn't make sense. You didn't come here for that. A different kind of person, you know? So neuroplasticity. So how do you get there? I'm gonna give you some things to think about. All right, get ready to write these down because because we have to create the paradigm we want in this industry. Oh, the momentary situations will dominate us. Everybody, would you agree? Because I've heard this from a lot of your colleagues. You guys are busy, right? There's a lot going on. Hands up, you know, get your hands in the air like you just don't care. All right. We're busy. Okay. And I want to give you guys a shout out. I love the way y'all stayed the course with this, despite all that busyness. So I'm gonna give you a couple of things to think about. All right. Some strategies. My son is an artist. He drew this picture. My waistline don't look like that no more. Well, it actually does, 'cause I've been in the gym a lot, so I'm looking pretty good. My daughter's not in my arms anymore. She's 14 and wearing me out. So that's another one. But anyway, so that's some strategy. So I'm gonna give you some. One, write this down. Celebrate daily wins. Write down, this is what I want you to do starting this week. Like you can have a little journal like this. I'm gonna try to get you the self-care journal. I told you I created a self-care journal. Excuse me, workforce development staff motivation journal. I'm gonna try to get you, these came out a little too small, but every day you can document a win. So what happens is at the end of the week, you have 5 wins. And then guess what? You can look back and say, man, I had a pretty successful week. And it could be something small. So let me come off of here real quick. I'm gonna mess with a few of y'all. Okay? Angie, tell me about a win you've had. It could be anything. Somebody smiled. Somebody said thank you. You worked with a coworker. It doesn't have to be a big one, but tell me about a win that you had, a success. Can we hear you?
I would say I consider a win when a participant follows through with something they said they're going to do. So
yeah.
I had a few of those this week. So
Good.
that's always good.
All right, good. Document them.
Yep.
Yeah, document them every day. I know you're probably doing your case notes, but have it somewhere where you can just like look at it too. But take a look at it. So you can say at the end of the week, I had multiple wins. All right, come on, y'all, show some love because we are here. Go down to your emojis and do a little heart thing or something like that. Sure, you know. You know, where it says react. There you go. Come on, there you can come. There we go. Not sure. All right, there you go. Very good. Janay, tell me about a win.
All right, so here is a big one for me. So my 4-year-old, right?
Yeah.
First of all, he potty trained himself, right? I'm just gonna say
Ooh,
that.
super,
Um,
super, super 4-year-old.
yeah, because all the times that I was trying to, he's one of them kids, them pandemic kids that if you try to force him to do something, he don't want to do it. He do it on
Yeah,
his own time.
he gonna get on his own
So
time.
yeah.
Mm,
So recently, randomly, because I have an older son, but I was
mm,
trying to convince him to show him how to use the bathroom. But long story short, randomly he started standing to
mm.
pee.
Yeah,
Random. Never
yeah.
watched anybody do that before. So that's a win
Mm.
for me because now I'm like one step closer to kindergarten and sleeping in your own room. I'm
We'll take that. We'll take that win for you. There you go. That's a win. All right. Very good. Brandy, give me a win. It could be a client. It could be something that happened. It could be what?
I
Talk to me.
had two people go into a working code this week. They got
Mm.
jobs and were able
They
to
got
be moved over.
they got the jobs.
You
That's
got
what I'm
jobs.
saying. That's
Yeah.
come on now. Well, let's
Yeah.
do some. Come on, y'all. We looking for emojis here. Come on, give some emojis. These are wins, man. You
Hmm.
know, and I'm gonna pick on Chelsea. Come on, Chelsea, give me a win. She there? Chelsea, you
You're
home?
muted.
Me?
No, Chelsea.
Chelsea's muted? Yeah,
Uh-huh.
she may be. All right.
There
Sorry,
she
can you
is.
hear me now?
I hear you. Yep.
My bad. I would probably say I got to go to the conference again this year, so I
Yes.
was pretty excited about that, and I got to
Yep.
work with Natasha from York.
That's what I'm saying. All right, there you go. There's a little heart emoji for you for that one. It was good
Mhm.
seeing you at the conference, even though it was for half a second.
Yeah, you too.
We said hi and goodbye. She's volunteering there. Very good. So the thing about it is, this is what I want you to do as a team, okay? Document one win a day. And then, Janae, when y'all have your staff meetings, give everybody a chance to celebrate, talk about a win. And let me tell you why that's important. It's important because we're going to deal with challenges in workforce development every single day. Instead of us now allowing the challenges to be the conversation or the paradigm, we can have some wins to celebrate that can reshift the neuroplasticity part and has us focusing more on possibilities versus the other things. Because I've been in hundreds, if not thousands, of locations throughout this country, and it's easy because of the nature of our work to focus on the things that are problems. It's very easy. They're all around us. But what happens as a team, because it takes what? Teamwork to make the dream work, right? Right? What we do as a team is we create the paradigm we want. Please write that down and don't ever forget it. We create the paradigm we want. You know, Janae, when you had mentioned that Daryl's very respectful as a young man, you had mentioned that. You know why that is? Because I focused on that.
Oh no.
You're supposed to say because you put the fear of God in him. That's what you were
No, no,
supposed to
no, no, no.
say.
I ain't put no fear in my kids. Sometimes. But I grew up respecting adults. I picked up respecting my friends. I grew up, so I wanted my children to do the same thing. Because I have kids walking to me now calling me Daryl. I said, "You 5. How you gonna call me Daryl?" That ain't showing much respect for me as an adult. So, the thing is, we want to make sure we put those values. And so, just 1 second, please. Let me mute this because I keep hearing background. Yeah. So that's good. So let's move on for time's sake. So that's one thing. Celebrate wins. And I want you to send me at least one win a week via email. I want to see what that win is. I want to send me all. Then number 2, I want you to create anchor values for yourself. Maybe 3 or 2. An anchor value. Now you got your organizational core values, then you got your values, which are your anchors. So like I say, have 2 workplace values, okay? That's yours. Respect for the team, integrity. I'm just giving you a few. You can make up your own. You don't have to use these. And then have one that's just fun. And that's for you personally. Today I'm getting my nails done on the weekends. You know what I mean? I may throw a little a pedicure in there too. Let them do my feet. Hey, you think I don't get those, girl? Please. I'm sitting right next to them ladies. We sitting up there getting their feet done and our toes. Nah, shoot, I'm right there next to them. That's right. I ain't too dudeish that I don't do that. You know, like that. What being in Florida when I'm down here and I'm back and forth between here and Delaware, they have a lot of lakes everywhere. Now you gotta be careful with the gators because you won't become gator food. But
A woman just died.
who that
She was
is?
kayaking, and then
Who that
an alligator or croc, whatever, one of the
jumped in
things.
and had a meal?
Yeah, they
Where
just
was
took
this?
her body
This
in
was in Florida.
Florida.
Oh,
Just
Florida. Yeah.
happened.
Well, yeah, it's
I'm
Florida.
not kayaking in
This
nobody's
is
body of
Florida.
water in Florida.
Let me
I
say,
barely like to go on the beach because I'm scared of them
well,
things.
you don't have to worry about the beach because they don't go to the ocean, but you got to worry about them lakes.
On occasion, they will be in the ocean. Not often,
Oh
but on
Lord Jesus, don't
occasion.
say that
And
because I
they
like,
Just
I
got they
like.
saying.
get smart. And like Indonesia
Mm.
or some other country, they pretend to be a drowning person. So they'll go on their back and wave their hands in the water
To get you
to
in there so
make
they
you
can eat
think,
you.
yeah, to make you think that someone's drowning so you can come to them. I
Yeah,
don't listen, I don't have time.
there ain't time for that. Now, can y'all? I'm gonna say this real quick because I got a few more things to share. And this is the God's honest truth. I'm not making any of this up. When Daryl and my son and I were coming back home, I said, Daryl, I haven't been canoeing in a long time. I said, maybe we should go canoeing until I saw that story, Janay. I said, this dude ain't going canoeing nowhere in this state.
Coach,
Uh-uh.
are you familiar with Lake Wellington?
No.
Okay,
Mm-mm.
so it's an area in Florida. There's a big lake there called Lake Wellington. When
Okay.
I was a kid, we lived in a townhouse right on Lake
Oh,
Wellington,
wow. Okay.
and our cat had kittens, and my stepfather wouldn't let him in the house, so we had to keep him out on our screened-in porch. So I'd take care of him in the morning, go to school, come home. Well, I came home one day, and there was a big hole in the screen, and all my kittens were
And they were
gone.
gone. Yeah, that was gator food.
Yes,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
was.
That was gator food.
Yes, it was.
That was
So,
gator food. Them gators
yeah.
ain't no joke around here.
No, they're
You
not.
see? So yeah,
Nope.
so it's real, you know. So this number two, anchor values are basically, if you look at the name, they're values that anchor you. So if I'm having a conversation with somebody, let's say if I get upset, nope, my value is I respect or integrity. I'm putting things off. Nope, my work is I'm going to do my work effectively as I can, even though I may have a lot of it. All right, I'm going to do my high priorities and my first and my medium priority things. I'm going to do a little time management. But the point being, I'm not going to make excuses. I'm going to do these things. Now, even doing these things, sometimes you may run into some stuff, but the bottom line is they're your values. All right. And that's number two. Then three, synergize. I would encourage you, Janay, at your team once, maybe once or twice a month, like bring up a few clients and brainstorm. Just say, somebody maybe having a challenge with somebody, put it on the table. Okay, how would you handle this? How would you handle this? And so what happens is now, this was one of the greatest parts of our workforce programs. When we ran them, we were always brainstorming. And so we learned there's a thing called localized best practices. We didn't have to go across the country to learn how to do this work because somebody on the team probably already knows what to do. And I've talked to your team, you got a lot of smart people, but if we don't communicate so often, then it's hard. So I think once or twice a month, this is a brainstorming session. You know what I mean? And if you want me to jump in, I can jump in virtually or whatever, and I can be a part of it because, this is where the energy takes place. It's really powerful when this happens. We did one with the other team, and I basically was out of it because they took care of it themselves. A question was posed by one of the teammates, and then I backed off and said, answer it. And boy, it was powerful. They came up with some real good strategies for one of their teammates to be able to deal with one of the clients. So that's what I'm saying. We have more power than we know. And then lastly, empower your teammates. Compliment every now and then. Hey, I heard you speaking to someone. That was a good job. Just little, because remember, we talked about those plants. Remember those plants? When you talk to plants, it strengthens them. When you talk to people, it does too. A compliment can go a long way. One of my good friends, Joy Jamerson, was the closing keynote speaker at NAUDIP, the National Association of Workforce Development Professionals. And she said this, and it was so powerful. She said, and I don't think everybody would agree with this, but I love that way she said it anyway. She said she loves getting thank yous for her clients almost as much, if not more than sometimes getting her check and direct deposit every week. She said it just makes her feel so good, when she gets a thank you. So if you get a thank you from one of your clients, write that down. Write the client's name down. What did they thank you for? things like that. And then when you come together, talk about them. All right. So let me go back because these are just 4 strategies I want you to work on. Because again, I'm a coach. I tell people I'm a certified high performance coach. You got to understand something. I'm not a certified pessimism coach. I said that earlier. My job is not to be pessimistic. My job is to be optimistic about the possibilities. So celebrate the wins. I want to see that once a week. All right. Create your anchor values. Send me one of the values. I would love to see them. If you have any questions, I'm here to be your coach. I'm not here to be at a distance. I'm here to be there for you at any given time. You want to brainstorm, I'm here. All right. Whatever. Synergize. Meet once or twice as a team. All right. Just like that sports team. Could you imagine a sports team getting together once a month and talking about trying to win football games? Just try to get together and encourage each other. And then lastly, empower your teammates. Find ways to inspire your team. All right. And that's what a good team is. Totally exceptional attitudes meshing. This is actually a school district I was working with down in Florida right here. This is over in Sarasota County. All right. Totally exceptional attitudes meshing. So please send me some of your wins via email from time to time, once a week. Please send me a few of your values and brainstorm. And we'll pick this up from our next training, which I'm looking at something maybe towards the end of the month. Or, because this is coaching, we do training, coaching, and then, we'll build from there. So any questions, you all, any questions, you will have access to this video. Thank you so much for all that you're doing, for the people you're serving. You're doing great work. All right. Do this before we go. We got 1 minute. Type in the chat feature. We are doing great work. Come on, just encourage each other. We are doing great work. Because if you help one person, you can help an entire generation. You see me sitting here. If it wasn't for workforce development, I wouldn't be. Because they helped my mother. And as a result, I'm sitting here with you today. That's why I do this work. All right. So I'm going to put my email in the chat feature. Some of y'all. Thank you, Chelsea. Appreciate you, my friend. Thank you so much. So this is the once a week. Just send me your wins. When you have meetings, talk about them. And also understanding that all of this is a building block, okay? It's a building block to creating the culture that we consistently, thank you, Darren, appreciate that, where you consistently are impacting your clients. Because guess what? You are the ones that's going to be in control, not them. All right? Much love to you. Until next time, we'll see you. Take care. Bye-bye. And I'll send Darren, and Janay, I'll send this video to you so if you want to distribute to the team. We'll see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.